Hi, Retired Grandpa here, and today's video is going to be about the CMMG Banshee Mk-10 10mm 3 buffer options. So here I've got the lower for my Banshee, and it does have the Delta Team Tacticals FRT-15L3 trigger in it. It's a phenomenal trigger so far. Check out the other videos about that. So when you buy a Banshee, it's going to come with two buffers. It's going to come with one that doesn't have any markings on it, and this weighs 3.10 ounces. And this is for your lightest 10mm loads out there, essentially your 40 Smith & Wessons. The second buffer that comes with it is an H3 buffer, and this weighs approximately 5.50 ounces. And that's kind of for your mid-tier 10mm ammunition. And the third option that you can order directly from CMMG is the 8-ounce buffer. And this is for your full power, just top tier 10mm loads, right? So all the videos that have uploaded to date have been using the 8-ounce buffer. CMMG does provide instructions on the use of these buffers as far as velocity goes. And the fastest or the highest velocity 10mm, they recommend using the 8-ounce. However, right now I'm shooting, I believe it's S&B 10mm, and it's not very hot. And so I'm going to drop down to the H3 and try that out. And then I'm going to try out this non-marked buffer and essentially just see what's the difference in the rate of fire. So as I mentioned earlier, all the videos about this 10mm that I have, I'm shooting the same ammunition that I'm going to be shooting today, and it's all been used with the 8-ounce buffer. So I'm going to go ahead and get this put back together, and we'll see you here in just a moment. All right, so we're about to start shooting. I do have the H3 buffer in the Mk-10. We are shooting S&B 180 grain full metal jacket. And all we're looking at here is the rate of fire difference between the buffers. Placing on FRT. Now I'm going to go ahead and change out the buffer to 3.10 ounce, and we'll see what happens. Stand by. All right, so now my audio is starting to cut out, so I'm having to do a voiceover to try and make up for what's going on. So here I'm using the 3.10 ounce buffer, and we're going to see some malfunctions here, and I determined that this is not recommended for this particular type of ammunition and this firearm. All the rounds that I'm extracting from the firearm are live, so now about to move on to the 8-ounce buffer. But here I'm just talking about that, how I don't recommend the 3.10 ounce buffer. Okay, so here we're moving into the 8-ounce buffer. And this is the buffer that I've been using for the previous videos. And it runs well. If I'm going to shoot something stronger than the Winchester Defender, then I would probably install this back into the gun. But for now, I believe I'm going to stick with the H3 for a while. And so here I'm running a Winchester Defender 180 grain through denim into water. Okay, so from 15 yards away, I put one round of Winchester Defender 180 grain jagged hollow point bonded through a pair of blue jeans into water jugs. And from 15 yards away, the round penetrated the jeans perfectly and penetrated 3 water jugs. So initially I was thinking the penetration is about 21 inches as I'm shuffling the water jugs around. Then I realized that I had the jugs pushed back a little bit to allow for the denim to sit on the table. So penetration was somewhere around 17 inches. And with the muzzle velocity, The muzzle velocity was 1,319 feet per second, again from 15 yards. And I'm assessing the damage here. Now, with firing through the blue jeans, which I'm going to talk about later, is well over, or it's more than 4 layers of denim per the FBI protocol, and the bullet performed well. So here in the video, I'm shuffling the jugs back to about where I had them before I shot. And this is where I'm realizing that I'm probably around 17 inches of penetration. And we're sitting here looking at the damage done. So shooting a water jug without the denim is a lot more dramatic. But nonetheless, even shooting through a lot of denim, you also have your cotton pockets, and you know how the denim is kind of folded over and sewn, around pockets, or where like the legs are joined together. I think I had 1 or 2 shots that hit those real thick areas throughout the video, and the bullet, it didn't affect the bullet whatsoever. And again, as I'll talk about later, this could be a good representation of what you might see in a pelvic girdle shot. So here I'm just trying to assess where the bullets entered and exited. I think some of the jugs actually may have twisted around by the time I returned to the table. So in here we find the bullet that's in jug number 3. Now I'm going to go ahead and extract the bullet and take a close look at it. And this is my maybe second time, I guess, doing bullet testing like this. And I know I've seen many of them on YouTube, but for me, I'm really excited to see my own ammunition, through my own firearms, going through some of these tests I've seen on YouTube. And it really is impressive to see and feel how hard these rounds are, and to take a great appreciation of the amount of force that is impacted upon the bullets to cause it to mushroom like this when it's impacting water. I mean, just with my fingers, I can't bend the pedals. You probably have to get a pair of pliers or something. All right, so here I'm firing 1 round into denim and 1 into water jugs. And the velocity of this was about 13, 14 feet.
Yeah, I do believe that's going to be the first jug that did not have the denim on it, and it absolutely just blew it up. There's your entrance, and obviously there's your exit. All right. Yeah, it's probably going to be your entrance here and your exit. Yeah. Kept on going through and through, and it ended up in jug number 4. I did put tap water in this, and I super glued it. Oh, good. I was gonna say I super glued the top, so I didn't know if I was gonna be able to get that out. Look at that. Look at that mushroom. Woo, that thing was screaming. Unfortunately, I don't know why, but I only got velocity reading on 1 shot. So for this, I fired 2 rounds, only got velocity reading on 1. So that was 1,314 feet per second. I don't know which one that was, the first or second shot. Whereas in the last video segment, it was 1,319. So yeah, as T and Outdoor 9 said, when he did the gold dot, 10 millimeter, 180 grain, it looked like a freaking meteor. And that's not far from it. So, man, that's awesome. I'll get some close-ups of that later. So, that's with no denim. All this, look, this with the denim. I'm assuming this is probably going to be the entrance. Is a little less climatic, I guess, or dramatic. but nonetheless, it still penetrated and it mushroomed beautifully. And it went to the third jug. So without heavy clothing, it went into fourth jug. With heavy clothing, it went into the third jug. And I forgot to mention in the last segment, but those talons there are very, very sharp. Oh, that is absolutely beautiful. You know, unless it's like going through your chest or something, but anyway. Yeah, that's nice. Ooh, yeah. That reminds me of the Ranger tees that we used to carry on the streets. And buddy, let me tell you, the 40 Smith & Wesson with the 180 grain Ranger tees, they worked. They absolutely worked. And with performance like this, I'll put it like this. One guy took 3 of these from a 40 to the chest, and the only reason he took 3 is because the SWAT officer that shot just fired 3 quick rounds. That's it. Center mass, the guy was 6'4", well over 300 pounds, and he was sipping tea with his maker before his corpse hit the deck. So think about that. 9mm, no. 40 and 10mm. 10mm is king, but my second choice would be the 40. So with that, let's do one more quick test and we'll wrap this up.
And here I'm testing the Winchester Defenders in a full magazine with the FRT feature.
All right. These Victos gunfighter jeans are awesome. They really are. Unfortunately, I am a pretty well disabled vet, and it's hard for me to keep the weight off, so I more or less outgrew these. But if anybody's familiar with the Victos gunfighter jeans, they know how thick and how durable these things are. And so essentially what I did is I folded them like that, you know, front like that, and then I placed the front over the water jugs. So let's see, turn around. So I mean, you had well over 4 layers of denim, or 4 layers of denim and, you know, cotton material for the pockets that the rounds went through, and just still penetrated and still mushroomed absolutely perfectly. I did do one shot off camera that was at a point blank range. Basically, I had the muzzle away from the jugs, maybe about 3 feet, and there's the exit wound. And yeah, it's absolutely amazing. But this also shows that if somebody's wearing body armor and you had to take that pelvic girdle shot, you know, rounds go through here and they're wearing thick jeans, you're still going to get to that pelvic girdle area. And yeah, I mean, just absolutely reliable. I don't know if you can see where all the impacts, you know, entrances, exits, you know, if I said that correctly. And I will have to apologize, you know, between the back and TBI and everything else, I do tend to stutter a lot or misspeak, so please bear with me in that. And but with that, that was very, very impressive. And I do like the Winchester Defender 180 grain jacketed hollow point, except for in a handgun. And the reason being, the box velocity is 1240 feet per second. And I don't know what barrel length that's from. I'm assuming that's a 6-inch barrel. For my X10 with a 5-inch barrel, it averages about 1206 feet per second. So that's a little slow for my liking. I do like my 180s to fly at about 1300 or a little bit more. So this Banshee has a 8-inch barrel, and right now the 2 velocities I captured on chronograph from this was 1314 and 1319. So to me, that's textbook. I like it. Some will say even 1350 feet per second, but anything over 1300 I'll take. And you also have to look at your bullet construction and how fast, you know, you're pushing it, because, you know, with some bullet types, you're going to have a lot of fragmenting, you're going to have a lot of bullet jacket separation and things like that you really don't want. So before I set this Banshee up like this, I did buy Ruger LC carbine 10mm,
And the Buffalo Bore 180 just absolutely screams out of that 16-inch barrel. It's over 1,600 feet per second. You know, I'm using a Garmin chronograph, and I'm probably at about, you know, anywhere between 500 and 600 feet in elevation. And I'm in North Alabama, by the way. So to me, that bullet is going to go too fast for that Buffalo Bore to be effective. Now, if you're shooting hogs at maybe 100 to 200 yards, where the bullet has time to slow down back into the threshold in which it's designed to expand, mushroom, then that could be a good option. For home defense, which is mostly what I do, well, home defense, vehicle defense, hotel, things like that, I'm looking for optimum type bullets or loadings or projectiles from certain firearms. And this is just a simple test of denim and water, but so far I give the edge to the Winchester Defender over the Buffalo Bore for this particular test. And I know I didn't shoot the Buffalo Bore through denim, and maybe I should. Please let me know down below. But when I shot 3 water jugs with it, it lost a lot of weight and it had bullet jacket separation. So with the denim help it stay together and penetrate more, that's possible. But I think I'm going to stick with this bonded bullet. So, but with the Buffalo Bore, it's excellent for my 5-inch X10. So I'm going to keep using that in that handgun. So as with anything else, we got to get these guns out and practice with them and test them. And this was another expensive test. And you know, yours truly, my name's John, and I'm the sponsor of this channel, and yeah, I paid for everything here. So even the Winchester Defenders at almost $2 a round, and the Buffalo Bores, they're over $2 a round. So, but I'm willing, my life is worth more than that. So, and my family's life is worth more than that. So I don't mind, you know, expending them in training, doing worthwhile testing. So with that, I wish y'all an excellent day. I hope everybody's doing well, and stay safe. We'll catch you in the next video. So I forgot to go ahead and put this into the video before I signed off just a moment ago. But so real quick, here are the 4 projectiles I recovered. So this is the first one that I recovered that went through denim. You know, the talons, I mean, just absolutely wonderful looking. It is interesting how each of these have one little pedal that seems to kind of stick out a little bit more than others, but that's okay. You really don't appreciate like how stiff or strong that is until you actually pick it up and mess with it. So as that thing is spinning through its intended target, I mean, it's just, it's just going to cut more stuff, right? So that's okay. I don't mind if it's not perfectly symmetrical in the mushrooming, so, or the upset, whatever you want to call it. So this one went through just a water jug, no denim, and just absolutely peeled back. This is the one that I called a meteor, or used the analogy, I guess, from TN Outdoor 9 earlier. And this one went through denim into jugs of water, the 3rd jug. And these are at 15 yards, by the way. You know, I like to test a little bit further, not so much up close. However, this last one here, I shot off camera, and the muzzle was probably maybe about 2-3 feet away from the denim and the water jugs, and just absolutely just peeled back. But this one right here made that large exit wound in the denim. So yeah, so these 3 here were fired at 15 yards, and this one was probably about 3 feet away. So I need to get some batteries for my caliper so I can actually get a little bit better idea as to how much these expanded. But you know, these are well over a 1/2 inch in diameter, so let's see. That one's pushing, golly, probably about 3/4 of an inch. I bet this one's going to be an inch. Yeah. That's right there at an inch. So, yeah, that's awesome. All right. Thanks for watching. Stay safe. We'll catch you in the next video.